For years, I have watched probably a few too many hours of YouTube travel videos across channels like Trek Trendy, Sam Chewy, The Points Guy, Nonstop Dan, Cara and Nate, the list goes on. And yeah, you can see by my subscriptions, which are probably my favorites. But the discovery of all of these channels really probably started with that one Casey Neistat video. That video kicked off a long-term, pretty superficial goal to one day be able to have the privilege of experiencing business class for myself. Well, today I have the privilege to bring you along with me and share my first time in the business class seat. And as you'll see throughout the video, I had no clue what I was doing.
Bye. Morning, how are you? Yeah, good, thanks. Let me just check. Am I right at the right check-in if I've booked through Qatar but flying British Airways first leg? Okay. Before I step through the entire check-in process, I need to find them at the wrong place.
Boarding will be at 18:13 at 6:30.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good, yes.
Second floor. Going up.
Feels a bit strange walking past the restaurants and going to a lounge, but we're through.
The Slow Lounge is British Airways partner lounge, but you can also get in with a few F&B bank accounts.
That. Oh. Perfect, thank you.
Welcome to the Slow Lounge. Now this was one thing that confused me because, as I said, I have no idea what I'm doing. There was a self-serve coffee machine, but also a full espresso machine with a barista, and I honestly had no idea if I had to pay.
I mean, apart from this being much better, is there a difference between here versus self-service there? Possible to get a flat white? Thank you so much.
This thing was awesome. So while I get some work done, let me tell you about our flight path for today. We'll be starting with a quick 1-hour hop from Durban to Johannesburg on Comair, British Airways' partner airline, which has since closed down. More about that later. We'll then spend the morning working in Johannesburg before jumping onto our main flight for the day with Qatar Airways from Johannesburg to Doha, which I'd booked in their incredible Q suites. The layover in Doha is super quick, so we'll be jumping straight through onto a British Airways operated flight from Doha to London. Now, unfortunately, there's not much to show you about this first flight because after boarding I was unable to film. During boarding, I felt weird about using the priority lane on the left, and so I just stuck it out in the regular queue. Just past this point, I then stood in the queue waiting to board and took out my phone to get this video of the plane, to which I found the staff member standing behind me shouting at me and scolding me because I was not allowed to film. The way the staff member treated me in the line had all eyes on me in the interaction. As I've mentioned, Comair has since closed down, and so they may already have been feeling the pressure of the COVID pandemic and a few other run-ins with the South African Civil Aviation Authority, which may have contributed to the stewardess's tension towards me, but I don't feel that justified the way that I was treated as a customer. While I was unable to film on the plane, I figured I'd give you a brief description of my experience. Business class seating on Comair consisted of the same 3-3 configuration to domestic economy, but with a free middle seat and slightly more padded seats. There was also a curtain between the business class rows and the economy rows, which were drawn after takeoff. That felt pretty strange and a little pretentious to me. I also had a super interesting conversation with the other passenger in my row who was a lawyer on her way to Joburg. She was very inquisitive about the camera equipment that I was carrying and interested in what I did for a living. I told her that it had nothing to do with my work, but that I was on a holiday trip and looking to capture the memories. So after the short flight, we were back on the ground in Joburg.
So the one problem is I actually have no idea which lounge I do or don't have access to. I was in the slow lounge in Durban, but I don't know if I still have access to that because now I'm on a Qatar flight as opposed to a British Airways one. So I'm walking to the lounge that I know Qatar used to use, but it might be closed. I don't even know what gate I'm boarding at because it's not on the ticket. So maybe I should have gone to the check-in desks, but I didn't. I went straight through border control, so let's see what we can figure out. Other lounges, I think that's correct. I'm really not sure. This place looks so deserted. I feel like everything's going to be closed this side, but let's see. It's just so sad to see the closed lounge. Lounge opening times 10 to 22 daily. That means that this might be open at some point. And Qatar Airways, that's good. But it means I might have to wait 50 minutes before being able to enter that lounge, which doesn't speak well for the work I need to get done. Thank you very much.
But no, I'm good. I'm really good. I'm excited. It was an early start this morning because I'm at the airport currently in Joburg. Transfer. So I'm just in a lounge doing some work. Our flight to Doha boards at 1:30, I think.
Hi, how are you? Good, thanks. Yes. Perfect. Thank you very much. Yeah. What's your name? Sorry.
It's Luma.
You want to say hi?
Hi, vlog.
Thanks for everything. See you later. Probably till I board my next flight, and after waking up at 4:45 or 4:15 this morning to leave by 4:45 for the airport, I'm tired, I'm done, I'm ready to just chill for a bit.
So while I take that time to rest, let me tell you a little bit about some news I received a few days prior about this next flight.
So we might have a bit of a problem. I've just seen that the aircraft has changed. I'm no longer on the 777-300, I'm on the 777-200, and all that means is that there's no Q suite.
Okay, so let me explain. Qatar Airways, being one of the biggest airlines in the world, has an expansive fleet of airplanes. What this means though is that some airplanes are older than others, and therefore there's different seat types on different planes. So while I said I had booked the premium Q suite cabin, which was on the 777-300, the plane was now being changed out for the slightly older 777-200, which was fitted with a more dated Collins Aerospace Minipod type of seat. Now, I fortunately knew that this was a possibility because of all the videos that I had watched, and because I'd booked the whole trip in business class, I was also getting the chance to fly Q Suites on the way back, so it meant I had to wait a little bit longer for the experience, but I was less worried about this current change. For some though, I can see how this may feel like a little bit of a bait and switch. This is obviously a major risk, especially for people booking a single leg one-way ticket and paying the premium cabin price to experience Qatar's Q Suites. However, by their policy, they do allow you to change your flight when there's an equipment change such as this. So I did get on the phone with them and sat for quite a while trying to explore different options, but there were just no options that allowed me to stay on the Q Suites and lined up with my predetermined travel plans. So take that into consideration if ever you consider booking Q Suites. Ultimately, I was still just relishing the opportunity to be flying business class no matter what seat it was in. So let's pick things up back at the airport.
Okay, this time I have permission to film as long as I'm not filming other people, so hopefully I avoid that awkwardness. That was a disaster. I had no idea what I was doing, where I needed to be, but getting on the plane now, just very late.
While I enjoy my welcome drink lemon mint, let me talk you through the seat map. This plane has 7 rows of business class in a 222 configuration, where I find myself today just over the wing in seat 7A. As you can see, I then had some time to fumble my way through the various seat pockets while the announcements continued in Arabic. Fortunately, I had met a friendly South African sitting next to me who was a little bit more experienced in business class travel and was more than happy to show me around the different features of my seat.
Okay, which one's which?
So that one's mine, that one's yours.
Okay. Like that would make sense, but also just in case it was like in line with, I was like, I don't want to.
It's so weird.
Oh.
I also had to figure out which one is which.
Interesting. Kind of like a little bit of a table as well, I guess.
Yeah, it's like you're drinking something like through champagne.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. This is like too much of a reach, you know, in case. So what's the tray table situation? I was about to ask, what's the tray table situation?
So you just pull it. You just pull it up and it comes out.
Cheapers. And then is there some kind of... No. Oh, yes. There we go. Okay. Very much an exploration there. Worried about breaking something there.
And also you can put your shoes over there.
Yeah, I see. Oh, yeah. And that's remote.
Yeah.
I feel like a proper kid in a candy store here, you know?
Yeah. I don't know if you've tried your back massager yet. Yeah.
There's a back massager. Although, is it? I take it's this.
Yeah.
What the heck?
So while I continued to fiddle with and be amazed by the plentiful array of seat adjustment options available to me, the plane pushed back and taxied towards the runway as the English announcement and safety videos began. And soon we were up in the air. While we were climbing, they then played this video to the cabin, and I assume the whole plane, encouraging donations to a charity supporting children in need. So I guess make of that what you will. In terms of the actual seat, all the various seating adjustments were available on the left armrest, with various preset seating positions and individual adjustment arrows for different parts of the seat, as well as, of course, the back massage settings. Then in the pocket to the right of the seat were the noise cancelling headphones, which you needed to unwrap and were individually packaged. These plugged in under the right armrest in the same compartment they were found, and also had what looked like a USB port and an Ethernet port. The remote obviously looks a bit dated, with a full keyboard on the back and some other buttons, but really all you're using is the OK and the arrow buttons in the middle. I had fun exploring the plethora of flight informatics and animations available to me, as well as going through the truly wide selection of entertainment options available on Qatar. Once we were up at cruising altitude, they had dimmed the lights in the cabin, and I took the opportunity to explore some of the other compartments and bits and bobs lying around the seat. I was truly amazed at just how much space I had, even enough to fully cross my legs. It's crazy. Then it was time to look at the menu and separate wine list, which, although they talk about a la carte and dining whenever, most people just follow the set dining times, and the waiters came round to ask what we'd be eating when it was dinner time. I then got some champagne while my friend got a spirit-based cocktail, both of which came with warm roasted nuts. For dinner, I had the vegetarian option on the menu, which was the paneer, but it also comes with warm breads and these fancy little salt and pepper grinders and this olive oil, which I thought was awesome. And because it's all free, I couldn't not say yes to dessert, going with the cheesecake and mascarpone cream and a hot chocolate on the side, while my neighbour went for the sticky toffee sponge cake and a Bailey's Irish cream to match. And after enjoying the hot chocolate, it was time to get changed for bed.
Quick toilet check. Mirrors everywhere. Yep, clean, basic, it works. You get pajamas. Pajamas. Anyway, I'm gonna get changed quick. Pretty comfy. Okay. Because I'm new to this, I didn't realize that there's a lock on here, and that turns on all the lights. So there you go. Now that it's lit, you can see everything a lot better. Including the pajamas. I mean, at this point, how can I not? Infused facial mist. Lovely. And down here, toothpaste, etc. So I'm gonna go for it and use them, and then it's time to go to bed.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days was the movie of choice for this flight, before a quick nap and then a descent into Doha. The one thing I should mention when it comes to my expectation versus reality for this business class experience was that I was slightly underwhelmed by the bed in the sky aspect. Given all the videos, I was really looking forward to a comfortable night's sleep. However, I found that my sleep was quite broken because I was just too warm in the cabin, and the footrest mechanism was not quite sturdy enough. So I found that my legs just weren't as supported and felt a little bit lower than the rest of my body. These both just contributed to me really struggling to get comfortable and therefore having quite broken sleep. Now at the end of the day, these are such minor complaints, and really it was still a fun and incredible privilege to be able to even lie flat and sleep at all on a plane. But it was one thing that I think is important to call out, that it's maybe not as glamorous as you think sleeping in the sky, but still an incredible experience. Once we were on the ground, we jumped into these buses which took us to the terminal, and as I mentioned, it was straight through security and to the boarding gates because it was a short layover. Here was my seat for the next leg of the journey in British Airways Club World.
My seat is 4G, which puts me square in the aisle in this Club World layout, which is a 242 configuration. Quite a strange one that really feels a bit odd when sitting in the cabin, especially as you're looking at the person directly opposite you across from the divider, who for me was probably a 6-year-old, I'm guessing, who funnily enough seemed rather experienced in business class flying. But on that point, I was seriously surprised by the number of kids flying business class in this flight. Literally in 5 of the 8 seats that I could see around me were children under the age of 12 probably. Storage in this seat consists of this foot locker, and there's a plug point just above it. Pressing this button allows for the TV to swing out into a viewing position, but I really found this difficult to do, potentially because of the angle you have to press it at. And the button next to it deploys the tray table. And this bit that folds down is where your feet go when the seat turns into a bed. The menu again looks rather impressive, but unfortunately the food was anything but. A light meal before bed consisted of a sandwich, some chips and some fruit, along with an English breakfast tea. And breakfast the next morning was this semi-sad croissant and rather plasticky omelette. But it tasted alright, it just wasn't great. There was also again some fruit, some orange juice, a little bit of oats and an English breakfast tea. While I watch Top Gear, let me show you briefly around the seat. There's a USB port and the remote, which again pops out just next to you. At the top of the divider is a small reading light, and all of the seat controls are just below the divider screen, although the button to raise and lower the divider screen is actually on top of the divider between the seats. The bed was the best part of this flight, and honestly was so much better than my Qatar experience. The bedding was incredibly comfortable, although this time the cabin ran crazy cold, and even with a thick jacket on, I really struggled to get warm, but I was able to get a good amount of sleep. So while I didn't get much footage of that flight, we were then on the ground and I was excited and ready to go and explore London for the first time. Although also incredibly exhausted, but overall I loved the experience of flying on both Qatar and British Airways, and it was such an incredible experience, even if I had no clue what I was doing most of the time.